through which we are running the Scout Suite and Prowler checks. And as you can see, after around like 30 to 45 minutes, you will see the reports from Scout Suite and Prowler there, and we will show you the Scout Suite report. Now, the question that we asked early on is you don't know what to go and mitigate. So here, Scout Suite gives you a service by service breakdown of what has failed, of what issues exist, what weaknesses exist in that service. So here, in case of EC2, we see that there are unencrypted EBS volumes and there are secrets available. So it's showing you where is that issue, in which EC2 instance, and where in user data. So you can go and remediate that user data, remove the secret from there. And then we will show you the unencrypted volume as well. So it's going to give you the volume ID that is unencrypted, so you can go and encrypt the volume. So we have reduced the burden on detecting what can be used to attack, and we also help you understand what or how you can protect yourself against those weaknesses. So now if you delete the stack, as I mentioned before, all the resources other than the S3 bucket will be deleted. So you will see that EC2 instance will be terminated at this point. As you can see, it's been terminated now. All right, so what if I were to tell you that there is more to it? There is more. You can extend this solution. You can extend SAT to perform automated remediation as well. So here, for example, I have written Lambda functions for each of the checks that perform the remediation. Then I wrote an step function, which in my opinion is such an amazing service. You get 4,000 transitions for free, and then for 3 cents more, you get another 1,000. You can write a lot of security orchestrations just with step functions for really cheap. All right, so all those Lambda functions that perform the remediation are being orchestrated with the help of this step function. And I expose this step functions API via API gateway. So the whole flow looks like this. When the checks complete, the admin gets an email that, hey, look, the assessment has been completed. Do you want to automatically start the remediation? If the admin so chooses, clicks the link that starts the workflow, and step function start orchestrating those Lambda mitigation functions. And once all of those checks have been remediated, then the admins again get a notification through SNS saying that, hey, we have remediated those issues that were found as a part of the SAT ransomware checks. So let me show you how this looks like. So here, as you remember, GuardDuty was one of the findings. So GuardDuty is not enabled in Oregon. And so we got it once the checks were done, we got an email that, hey, it's been completed. Do you want to start remediation? And that's the API gateway link. By the way, again, like I mentioned before, this account is deleted, so these resources don't exist anymore. So once you click on that, the remediation starts, and you will see that GuardDuty will become enabled almost instantaneously. So there you go. So the GuardDuty is now enabled almost instantaneously. So how does this work? So as you can see, we're going to step into let me show you the step functions. So if you go in the step functions, pretty simple step function. The middle part, which is the fat part, is actually where the remediations are happening. So the code looks like somewhat like this. So we check what has failed. Then based on what has failed, we have remediations that are orchestrated, and those one or more of those are run in parallel. And then ultimately we send a report to the admin that, look, it's been remediated. So this is what the code looks like. So the step one is that checking what has failed, and the heavy lifting is done by this Lambda that I'm highlighting. It parses through the results and sees what has failed, and then sends that data over to the next state. In this state, the data is now matched against which check has failed, so that corresponding remediation Lambda can be activated. So in this case, our GuardDuty check has failed, so the GuardDuty Lambda is now going to get activated. That's the Lambda I'm showing on the screen. That's the part that actually does the remediation. And then ultimately, the admins get a note from the SNS saying that remediation has happened. That's the Lambda that actually performs the notification function. Let me show you what Lambda looks like. Pretty simple Lambda. All it does is SNS publish with the checks that have been remediated. Okay. Again, this is for the folks who want to extend the solution for performing the automated remediation. In order to run SAT, you don't need any coding. So here, once the checks are remediated, the admins get an email that look, checks remediation has been completed. All right, but I don't want to leave you with a thought that SAT is the only tool in your arsenal to protect against ransomware. SAT is point in time, but then you have Security Hub. Security Hub is such an amazing service. It's so easy to deploy, and once you deploy it, it continuously gives you an assessment of the security and compliance state of your account. And it integrates with AWS organizations as well. So it scales with you. It natively integrates with other AWS security services and with many of the partner products that you might already be using. So highly encourage you to look at the Security Hub as one of the core pieces of your defensive strategy. Now, many of you are storing the logs on S3, like CloudTrail. You can use Athena to predefine the queries that your SOC analyst might use. So for example, access keys that are creating most errors, or why is root being used, or who is trying to access the backups. You can pre-write those queries in Athena for your analyst. Now we know that in the future and the current phase of ransomware, attackers are going after your critical data. You can use Macy to identify where that data lives in your S3 ecosystem and then put right set of protections. CloudWatch anomaly detection is another service that might get overlooked, but such an amazing feature. You can write anomaly detection on user errors and application errors to raise alarms on things that breach a threshold. And then again, I talked about the step functions to orchestrate a lot of your security playbooks. Now, I know that many of you might not have a SIM. So you can use Elasticsearch, and you can send the data over to Elasticsearch and then use Elasticsearch outlier detection feature to detect anomalies. There is a very good blog post by Elasticsearch. I highly recommend you looking at the blog post on how to achieve that. Now, at AWS, we are constantly innovating on your behalf. We are happiest when our innovations vanish into your day-to-day. So I encourage you to take what you have learned today, help us spread the message, discuss about these tools and these learnings and these frameworks with your colleagues. Give SAT a go. Give us your feedback. Give us your feature requests via GitHub. And we are more than happy to work on those and make it better. Want to share the team that brought you this solution. Combined, we have several years of experience in cybersecurity, and we are constantly working with you to make things more secure for you. Thank you again for your time. I hope you all learned something from the session, and don't forget to give me your feedback. Thanks again.
Databricks is the data and AI company. We help data teams solve the world's toughest problems. The only open, unified platform for data management, business analytics, and machine learning.
You've heard it before. We're connected all the time. It's a digital world. At CrowdStrike, we keep it safe. So wherever you go, go with confidence. Welcome to anywhere. CrowdStrike. We stop breaches.